Hello, welcome to the first Legally Different episode of 2025 and welcome to 2025. Here we are. I don't know about you, but I just feel like the last year has gone so fast and particularly the last few weeks. But yeah, here we are. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lauren Kay, your host. I'm a career moves expert, a human design guide, and a former big law lawyer. To the OGs and the regulars, thank you so much for tuning in, and yeah, your support and listenership is much appreciated. So I wanted to mark the beginning of this new year with an episode that's hopefully going to be super supportive to you this year, and particularly regarding navigating your career and ensuring that your career feels as fulfilling as possible. And the focus of this episode is career reframes on 2024 to take into 2025. Now, what I mean by this will become clear as we get into it and I share the 7 reframes with you. But the purpose behind this is I really feel like 2024 was quite challenging for many of us, both in our personal and professional lives. And from a professional career perspective, I know so many of us have been navigating a lot. And there's a number of different themes I've picked up on from conversations with people, from clients I've been working with, just from my own sort of observations and insights on the industry, that I thought it would be super helpful to kind of spotlight and then put a reframe on it. Because some of these things are particularly maybe quite heavy or have been quite challenging to navigate. And I think the more we focus on that, the more we focus on the heavier side of it, on the challenging side, the more likely we are to stay stuck in that particular thing, in that particular challenge, stay stuck in the heaviness of it, rather than move through it, rather than take the lessons of that challenge into 2025 and into moving our career forward in an aligned way for us. And I think that will make more sense when we get into the reframes. It's hard to explain what I mean, bigger picture, but it'll make more sense. So let's just get into them. I'm going to give you 7 reframes on some signature themes of 2024 that you can apply in a more meaningful way in 2025. And for anyone who follows me on Instagram, if you don't, feel free to head over there. It's at Legally Different. I shared a post with these 7 reframes, and yeah, they're very short, sweet and snappy across there. But I really wanted to record this episode to add more flavor, add more depth, add more insights and meaning behind them all. So let's get into it. I'm basically going to be sharing a statement of how and the origins of this statement is something I've heard from clients, something I'm picking up in the wider collective, in the legal industry, about how people are feeling or what they've been navigating. And then I'm going to share a reframe on that statement, that feeling. What's the reframe? What's the new insight? What's the lesson that you can take into 2025? And yeah, I think let's just get into it because it'll make more sense when we're going through them all. So the first statement is, I'm feeling unfulfilled. I'm feeling so unfulfilled in my career. And the reframe statement is, I'm being redirected to do work I love. So I've heard this so many times. I'm so unfulfilled. And the purpose of this reframe and all of these reframes is to show you these feelings come up for a reason. You wouldn't be feeling these things if you weren't meant for more, if you weren't meant for something different. They're all here. Each and every one of them are here to kind of course correct and bring us into more alignment, so we can be more on our own career path, so we can create a career path that is truly aligned for us. And that's not to say where you're at now isn't aligned, but it's like inviting us into deeper alignment, into more fulfillment, into more of the things that we want to feel in our career, more of the things that we want to achieve. So for those who are thinking, I'm feeling unfulfilled, the reframe here is, I'm being redirected to do work I love. I don't want you carrying this statement, I feel unfulfilled, into 2024. It's helpful to understand that, but what are you going to do about it? Don't let that signature feeling of 2024 be the signature feeling of 2025, or don't let it continue. Like, there's an invitation here to do something about it, to transform and change. And the particular reframe, the particular message for I'm feeling unfulfilled is, I'm being redirected to do work I love. So how can you focus on that? Instead of focusing energy and thoughts on I'm feeling so unfulfilled, how can you turn that around? How can you focus on working out what you do love, what work you would love? So that's the first reframe. And I probably explained that one a little bit more so you can understand what I mean by these statements and the reframes. And yeah, we'll kind of just push on through the rest. So number 2 is, I had a breakdown. I had a career breakdown in 2024. The reframe on this is, it was a breakthrough. I had a breakthrough. Now, I really wanted to share this one in particular because so many people seem to have had some form of breakdown. Now, that can mean a lot of things. It can have different definitions. I think at one side of the spectrum, it can look like you broke down in tears at work in the toilets. You had toilet tears. I think we've all been there. And on the other side of the spectrum, it might mean you had like a full breakdown, burnout episode. You had time off work. And this seems to be a common theme. It was a common theme in 2024. I know lots of people who navigated that. And I want to say to you, there is no such thing as a breakdown. It's a breakthrough. And I'm not taking away your experience. I understand it's hard to go through that. I'm not taking away any of those awful things you must have felt during that breakdown. But what I'm saying is to move forward and move through it. What did you learn? There's always a breakthrough in a breakdown. I feel like from my own experience of having them, we are often our most rawest, natural, realist selves in the middle of something like that, because we really realize what we will and we won't tolerate. So my invitation to you in particular, when you consider what was the breakthrough here, is to consider, what did you realize you're no longer willing to tolerate? What are you no longer willing to accept in your career or in life? What was the lesson here? What was the breakthrough for you? What did you realize about yourself? And the final thing I'll say on this is, I think a lot of people deem a breakdown as some form of weakness. And I want to say to you, you are not weak. It is not weak to break down, whatever that looks like. It's actually very strong. It's very strong to say, I can't carry on. I'm feeling this way, to share your emotions, number one. And number two, a breakdown often results from carrying so much, from being so strong in like the resilience, in the resilient sense of the word, and doing too much and spinning all the plates and doing everything. It usually arises from a place of strength, and it's a sign to rest more, to tune in. So what were your breakthroughs? It was a breakthrough, not a breakdown. Number three, I'm stuck. I'm feeling so stuck in my career. The reframe here is I'm being invited to consider my options. I'm being invited to consider my options. Now, I think many of us know this feeling of stuckness. It often arises when we know the thing we're in isn't for us anymore. Maybe we've achieved everything we wanted to achieve from it, or maybe we're still continuing to try and achieve and do our thing, but it's just not feeling the same. We know it's not hitting the right notes and we're not fulfilled. But we also don't have sight of the new thing we want to do. We don't have a vision for something else we could move into. We don't have inspiration. And it's that in-between place where you know you want to leave the old and you want something new, where that feeling of stuckness usually arises. So the reframe here, and what I really want to share with you, is to tell yourself, I'm being invited to consider my options. So what are your options? Begin to explore them. And I know sometimes, depending on how deep in the stuckness you are, sometimes it can be really tricky to even see that you have any options. So I invite you to take a step back, remove any burdens as much as you can in your life, take away anything that feels heavy, and just begin to sit with it. It doesn't mean you have to sit there and think of loads of different options. Just begin with taking time for yourself. Begin with exploring who you are. Begin to understand what makes you tick. Moving on to the next one, number 4, I'm burnt out. I'm so burnt out. This is a very common thing in 2024. And the reframe here is I'm being invited to work smarter, not harder. I'm being invited to work smarter, not harder. And again, with burnout, I feel like it's a term used a lot these days, and there's like a sliding scale. Burnout could be the extreme end where it's a full sort of breakdown and you're taking a full period of time off work and you can't get out of bed, or it could be the other end of the spectrum where it's a bit lighter. You're exhausted, you can kind of keep on going, and you are, but you can't continue like that for much longer. And the reframe here is your body is asking you to rest. Your body is saying, let's work smarter, not harder. Please, let's lighten the load. And I want to say to you, where can you begin to take more rest? Where can you choose the more easeful path? Because your body is asking you to. You are being invited to work smarter, not harder. So that's the reframe here. Number 5, I'm bored and going through the motions. The reframe to this is I've been given space to consider my purpose. I've been given space to consider my purpose. So what are you going to do with it? That's my question for you. And I feel like there's two like buckets of people, lawyers, legal professionals. There's the first bucket that I've kind of already spoken to, where people have too much on their plates, they're burnt out, they're doing too much. And then there's the other side where some lawyers are feeling really bored and disengaged, and it's not actually that they have too much going on, or if they do, it's just too much of stuff that doesn't light them up and they're really bored, but they do actually have some space in their days, or do have a bit of freedom to do other things. So if you're in that bucket, the question here is, the reframe is I've been given space to consider my purpose. So how can you utilize that space? How can you carve out some time to sit with yourself, to get to know yourself and understand what makes you tick and what your career purpose is? I want you to carry that forward into 2025. I don't want your message and your ongoing work signature to be I'm bored and I'm going through the motions, because you're made for more than that. I know you are, because you're listening to this. You're made for more. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. The next one, number 6, is I feel trapped and I'm micromanaged. The reframe on this is I value freedom. I value freedom. So this is something that I hear often from lawyers. They want more spaciousness. They want more autonomy in their work, more freedom. Particularly if you're a manifesting generator or a manifestor in human design, but it can definitely apply to all types. So my question for you is, how can you create more freedom in your career, whether it's in your existing role or leaving and totally redesigning it so it's more freedom centric? I think there's a strong message here. If you're feeling trapped, if you're feeling micromanaged, that freedom is really, really important to you. So yeah, I think that's a really powerful invitation. Where can you create freedom in your career? And number 7, last but not least, it feels like I'm having a career crisis. The reframe on this is, I'm in my career reinvention era. Let's make moves. So I feel like I'm having a career crisis. I've heard so many people say this. Firstly, I don't think there's any such thing as a crisis in any context. Like, we hear of the midlife crisis often, don't we? I feel like any feelings that are coming up that you then define as a crisis, I think it's like an initiation to be more real with ourselves, to become a more authentic version of ourselves, so we can feel more fulfilled, so we can be more on our own paths. And sometimes if we don't listen to the signs and we keep ignoring them, it has to come along in the form of a crisis, a quote unquote crisis, whatever that looks like. I think often some people have termed what I went through as a crisis. They were sort of half joking. It was tongue in cheek, like when I first left Big Law and went traveling. But I didn't see it as that. I saw it as like this amazing opportunity. And that's exactly what it turned out to be. So we can either take these themes and let them really define us in a heavy way, or we can reframe them and extract the lessons and see the positive take, or the way they're trying to course correct us. And so the reframe here is, I'm in my career reinvention era. Like, wow, how exciting. And I want to say that to you, how exciting. Like, you have an opportunity to reinvent yourself. You have an opportunity to do something different. Like, if things are crumbling, if things are being taken away, if things aren't going as well as you expected, where is that perhaps an invitation, an initiation to redirect, to reinvent yourself and reinvent your career? And these opportunities don't come along very often. They sometimes can take a lot of time and effort. So if it's here, be with it. If you're going to channel time and energy into resisting it, that is just going to create more resistance down the line. The reframe here is, I'm in my career reinvention era. Let's make moves. Let's make this fun. Let's go with it. Let's be in the flow of what's happening here and not resist it. What would happen if I did that? So that brings me to the end of the 7 reframes. It was quite a short and sweet episode. And I hope you found those helpful. The intention, again, just to repeat what I said at the beginning, is to really give you this positive reframe on anything challenging that you might have experienced in your career in 2024. I want you to know you don't have to carry forward the heaviness. You can change it. You can transform any experiences. And they're all lessons in some way, shape or form. They're all signs, our body signaling to us, hey, maybe it's time to redirect here. Hey, maybe this bit isn't going as well as it could. Or maybe you're not in your fullest alignment here. Let's make changes. because I want you to feel good. So I hope that was super helpful. Do feel free to reach out and let me know how it landed with you. And if you are ready for one big reframe in 2025, if you are ready to take action, to make moves, and maybe transform some of the circumstances you've been in, some of the messages you've been telling yourself, and you're ready to transform them. You don't want this to be the message going into next year. This time next year, you want to be in a different situation. You want to feel fulfilled by your career. You want to feel free. You want to feel free in your career, spacious, on purpose, passionate about it, doing work you love, all the good things. Then join the waitlist for Made for More Than the Law. This is my brand new signature course that I'll release mid-January. I'm so excited for this. And it's designed for those who know they are made for more. They know they are made for more than just being a lawyer, and they either want to leave the law entirely or diversify their career with a portfolio career and do something different in addition to being a lawyer. This course is designed to help you get clear on what else you could do. It takes you on a whole inner exploration journey to understand who you are, what you're made of, and what those things look like in a work context, what you could do and get paid for. What is your career purpose? And I'm really, really excited to go on that journey with you. So if you're not already on the wait list, get yourself on there. The course will be open to all, but only those on the wait list will receive an introductory discount period for the period of January when the doors open mid-Jan, and they will also receive the opportunity for a bonus. So yeah, if you're not on the wait list, you'll miss out on those. So pop yourself on. The link is in the show notes. And I'm really excited to go on that journey with you. I know you are made for more. If you're listening to this, I know you are made for more. And I'm really excited about what 2025 holds for you. So with all that being said, wishing you so much abundance, health, happiness, everything you could ever want from 2025. And of course, in terms of your career, I'm wishing you so much fulfillment, joy, purpose, success, all the good things for you. So with that, I hope it's a great start to 2025 for you. And as always, if you want to reach out, share any reflections from this episode or any other episodes, or ask me any questions about Made for More Than the Law, then you're very welcome to do so. My email address is hello@legallydifferent.com, or you can DM me on Instagram. Fab. Okay, I'll see you on the next one.